Hey everybody. So I've been following a little bit of the African World, what is it? It's the World Cup for 2022 in the T20 division for cricket for the African regional qualifiers. Now I know that seems a bit of a stretch, so to explain it basically there's 4 teams from Africa, different parts of Africa. And the top one, the one that finishes first, gets to go to the global finals. And in the global finals, they're competing against 15 other teams, so 16 total, in 2 groups of 8 actually. And the top 2 from each of those groups of 8, or top 4 overall, get to go to the actual World Cup, at least to the first round. And then they're going to be 8 in the first round, so there's already 4 there. And the top 4 of those 8 make it to the main round of the World Cup. So that's essentially, at this stage, so if you think of sort of the World Cup, or the main round being the top 12 and the first round being the top 16 in the world, then you can kind of think of the global qualifiers being 16 teams, so it's from rank 13 to 28 roundabout. Alright, so that's basically, and this is 4 teams aiming for one of those spots in the top 28. But look, it's still a fairly big deal. It's just this progression, if you like. And in fact, before this, we had sub-regional qualifiers for, well, except for the top 2 teams. So Kenya and Nigeria are the top 2 teams in Africa, at least the ones that haven't already progressed. So we've already got Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa already in at least the global qualifiers for Zimbabwe, Namibia in the first round, and South Africa already in the main round. So we've already got 3 from Africa. So this is essentially the 4th best in Africa, and it's so Nigeria and Kenya automatically qualified. There were 2 other spots, and Tanzania and Uganda ended up being the 2 that made it. So I was just following this, and so they're actually playing these. They play each other twice. So 3 games, because there's 3 each, times 2, 6. They're playing 6 games over 4 days, which is pretty incredible. So that's 6 games each over 2 games, over 4 days. So it's pretty frantic, and they're playing 2 games a day, or at least 2 games are being played a day. And yeah, it's just pretty incredible. And you know, to start off with, I thought, oh, Kenya. So Kenya's big favourites to make it, and then Tanzania. Their first match, I think it was against Nigeria, and you know, Kenya and Nigeria should have been 1 and 2, but Tanzania flogged Nigeria. So you know, look, I know Nigeria isn't really known for cricket, but they are the biggest country in Africa by population. I think their population's like 250 million. So and Africans do follow cricket a little bit, like not as much as, you know, perhaps people in Australia or England or India do, but more than, say, people in Germany. And so it's followed a little bit. And so yeah, so seeing that sort of a difference between a much smaller country was massive. And I mean, Kenya beat Uganda, and that was a little bit expected, but it was a bit closer than I thought it was going to be. Kenya were way on top, but then Uganda came way back. So then they had their second matches, and that was, so Tanzania actually beat Kenya. They got, I think it was 180, quite a big score, and it was looking like being a close finish, but then suddenly Kenya collapsed, and so Tanzania won quite easily, about 40 runs I think in the end. And so that was a bit of an upset. So Kenya lost, and to Tanzania, who was kind of the 4th team. They were supposed to be the bottom of the 4. And the other game, Uganda came and beat Nigeria. So Nigeria, one of the 2 automatic qualifiers, winless after 2 matches. Then we went round and they had the 3rd round, and I actually didn't follow this one. I forgot it was on, I think, and I just missed it. But in this one, we had a bit of a reversal. So Tanzania was unbeaten at that stage. So they were sitting on 2 wins, and then we had Uganda and Kenya on 1 each, and so effectively you kind of had Tanzania first, Kenya second, then Uganda, and then Nigeria in that order. So it was a bit of an upset when we had that result because Uganda beat Tanzania, and you know that I guess they were 3rd and 4th ranked coming in, and Uganda was 3rd, Tanzania 4th, but it was a little bit upset in terms of the competition because Tanzania was unbeaten. So Uganda came in, beat them. Kenya flogged Nigeria, and so Nigeria's out of it at this stage. Nigeria's sitting 0-3, they can't make it at that stage. So the other 3 teams are 2-1. They're all 2-1, so they're just different by run rate. So that's becoming quite exciting. So halfway through, 3 teams 2-1, and only the first one gets through. So this is a very close contest, and I've sort of thought about it, and I think there should be 2 teams from Africa out of that, and probably only 1 from the Americas. I think we're being a bit generous to the Americas by having 2 teams. I know Canada's fairly strong, but USA aren't that strong. But then again, USA beat Canada, so they both made it through. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Then they had their other matches anyway, and I thought, oh, Tanzania might beat Kenya because they got absolutely slaughtered, and it was very one-sided. So, and then the other match, it was a little bit closer, but still pretty one-sided, and Uganda beat Nigeria very easily. So Nigeria's sitting now on 0-4, and they're bottom. But now, suddenly, Tanzania is 3rd. They were leading before, and so they're sitting on 2-all. That's not very good when you want to finish first. And now we've got essentially a 2-way battle for top spot between Uganda and Kenya, and they're both sitting on 3-1. And I'm not sure if Tanzania can still make it, but with 2 matches to go, I don't think they can. So they'd certainly need to beat Uganda, but even that might not be enough, because I think then Uganda has to beat Kenya. And then look, it gets a little bit complicated, but certainly it's looking now like the Kenya versus Uganda match might decide who makes it. And yeah, look, pretty interesting. And certainly I think as far as performances, like Kenya out of those 4 have obviously had the biggest performances. They've made it to a World Cup semi-final, albeit that was ODIs in 1996. But there was a talk at that stage of making them a test team, maybe. Didn't happen, and of course that was pushed by some boycotts due to some terrorism and all that sort of stuff, but still quite a big deal. And Uganda have been one of the better sides other than that, so you know it wouldn't be enormous surprise if Uganda made it through. I mean, Tanzania, I was very excited about them, but they sort of fell away with that match against Kenya, and I'm sure they're very disappointed. They had really good performances in the sub-regional qualifiers. Obviously top because they made it through to the regional qualifiers. But yeah, it's very disappointing when that happens. But yeah, look, it's looking like probably Kenya will make it, but it still might be Uganda, and I guess Tanzania is still some chance. But it's quite an interesting little tournament, and it's just a quick one over 4 days. But it made me think, and I guess the point of having this sort of video is just to sort of look at it. That's a regional qualifier ahead of the global qualifiers, ahead of the first round of the World Cup. And most people just only pay attention to the main round, and they skip over the first round of matches. But we've got all this now. I mean, we didn't used to, but we do now. And of course before that we also have the sub-regional qualifiers, when Tanzania qualified and so did Uganda. And of course they have the rankings. For some of them just qualify due to rankings and all that sort of stuff. Some of them qualify straight for the main round due to rankings, top 8. Then you have rankings for the global qualifiers, how well they did in the last World Cup and all sorts of other things. And I think it's a really good system, personally. And then I had a look at the ODI World Cup, the slightly longer version of cricket, and they don't have any qualifiers. They're just saying, top 8 teams by ranking, you go through. Which, you know, in some ways that's fair. You know, you still have to play against other teams to get your rankings, but it sort of ruined it to me. I think that this whole system where you're giving teams a chance, look, it's hard, if you're ranked 28th, it's harder to get through the top 12 or top 8 than it is if you're ranked 5th. But you still have that chance. And I think we need to have that chance. And I think really the ODI system is flawed. And I think we need to focus a bit more something like this T20 system, and it's similar to what they do in soccer. So why can't cricket follow that lead? And that's a lead that works really well in soccer. So I just think, you know, T20 is leading the way in that respect. And I was really impressed with the World Cup, with how it was organised, and with this global qualifying system, really good. This African qualifier is really good. Look, I'm thinking maybe we should have had 2 teams, but even still, the system is really good. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye bye.